You're listening to a Cult Talk Network podcast.
For 31 days, the dead walk among the living. Things that go bump in the night no longer hide in the shadow. And your darkest fears leave your mind and stand before your very eyes. A shiver up the spine, a sting on the neck, a howl in the night. This is Cultober, and this is Cult Talk Conspiracy. Encounters. Welcome, all you believers, idealists, skeptics, and all those who question the universe around them. I'm Ty.
And I'm Bailey.
And this is Cult Talks Conspiracy Werewolf Encounters, part 2 of our episode every week through Cultober that we're doing.
I'm a little upset with you because you did not properly intro this episode. You have to do it.
I'm sure my arm will get twisted at some point to do it. And as promised, we do have, as with last week, we had very special guests, our friends, the Farthest Reaches podcast. We have some special guests on this episode. I'm sure if you're familiar with Cult Talk Net, you should be familiar with Cult of Lore.
Hi, guys.
How's it going?
I'm apparently here with some people.
Hey, everybody.
They're a little shy today.
Yeah, I think they've never done a podcast before.
I know.
Listen, I hit my mark. I'm standing where I'm supposed to. I said what I was supposed to say. What I was supposed to say. God damn it.
It's like herding cats sometimes. We just have to, go with the flow of things.
Well, if some of our listeners haven't heard Cult of Lore before, who do we have here with us? Introduce yourselves.
Hi, guys. I'm Ben.
I'm Eric.
And I'm Jerry.
That's how we do that.
There they are. That's Cult of Lore. That's our long form Warhammer 40K and just deep dive lore based podcast, Cult of Lore, as part of the Cult
deep
Talk
and
Network.
pedantic.
Yes.
Absolutely.
Yes. Yeah. The very rabid fans or very nitpicky fans.
Nitpicky. We love our nitpickers.
Some of the comments I see on YouTube are just mind boggling. The depth of information these people have on this stuff. It's pretty impressive, though. I will say, not to anyone's detriment. It's very impressive.
Yeah. Thanks for having us onto your show, guys.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah. We decided we wanted to do this month, make things a little special. We're doing these encounters episodes and figure it would be fun to bring on some guests and make the episodes that much more special. So, and here we haven't had you guys on an episode yet. I think you've had me on one of your episodes. You had Bailey on an episode or two of yours.
Yeah.
So figured only fair to have you guys on for Cultober and talk about werewolves, which you guys did a very awesome werewolf lore episode last year as part of Cultober. So.
Hell yeah, it had a really awesome narration to it. We brought in a professional movie theater announcer, and he just,
it's all right.
put that extra stick on it.
It's all right.
He was wonderful. He was wonderful.
It's all right. Yeah, if you guys want to check out that, definitely check out Cult of Lore. And also that the full video, that's really good. Eric did a really good job animating the intro for that at youtube.com/culttalknet.
Why, thank you. I was quite inspired by our narrator's rendition of the line. It was fantastic.
It was, right.
It's pretty good. It's all right.
It's right up there with Force Stories 7 years ago.
I have been called the voice of a generation a time or two, so
Is that right?
Really?
somewhere.
What generation, Jerry asked?
The greatest generation.
The greatest generation.
Really pushing out the Nazis, huh?
Oh, yeah.
So today we're talking about werewolves. Only fitting to have you guys on after that fantastic werewolves episode last year. So with this, what we're going to talk about real life encounters with werewolves, legends and lore and myths and all that stuff that involves supposed real life encounters with werewolves. And I think Bailey, you're going to kick us off, right?
Yes, I am.
All right, let's hear it.
We are going to be going to Michigan, which is a very lovely, near and dear place in my heart. But we're not going to be talking about some of my favorite places today in Michigan. Instead, we are going to be talking about the Michigan Dogman. Has anyone heard of the Michigan Dogman?
Absolutely.
Yes, absolutely.
Yeah, Jerry has not.
Jerry
What
has
about
not.
Eric?
I am kind of familiar with the
Kind of
Dogman from
familiar.
research for something or other along the way.
Probably our werewolves episode.
Mhm.
There's actually a very famous. It's called the Michigan Dogman Triangle. That's what they
Mhm.
call it up there. There's it branches over into, I think, northwestern Ohio a little bit. The whole Great Lakes area, pretty much. There's a vast number of Dogman sightings.
Oh yeah, Wisconsin too. He's seen a lot in Wisconsin.
Texas has a pretty big Dogman Triangle too.
That's because everything's bigger in Texas, including their dogs. So I feel like something went straight over my head. Anyway, so
It's just dangling there, babe. That's all.
Woof.
So the Michigan Dogman, he's pretty interesting because his lore spans all the way from the late 1800s all the way up until present day. So the legend behind the Dogman is he is a part man, part dog that has been seen throughout Michigan and parts of Wisconsin. At the time of writing this, I did not know about the sightings in Ohio, so I really want to look more into that now as well.
There's always room for a part 2, man.
Absolutely.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
So he is described as being 7 feet tall. However, there is a song out there that we're going to talk about, which specifically states that he was 7 foot 4 inches tall. How they got a ruler up to him, I'll never know. And he 7 foot tall, maybe a little slightly over, has yellow eyes, howls like a human. It howls like a human scream, and is very agile. So can move and, be sneaky. And I mean, for something to be over 7 foot tall and be agile and sneaky and, kind of a sleuth, it's kind of like, okay, that's scary. Like that always freaks me out when big things can sneak around. I'm like, no, you're too big. That defies physics. I don't like it. No.
Yeah,
Make noise.
If you ever see any of those stories where people are hiking and then they just look up and boom, there's a bear, you're like, fuck.
Yeah, no. we don't fuck with bears in the Frost House over here.
No,
I find them beautiful. Ben finds them terrifying.
Yeah, bears are. I'm racist against bears. Fuck them.
That's specious, not racist.
What species? Whatever. Fuck them. Absolutely fuck them. They swim. They climb. They run. They're strong. They're thick.
They
they're
do
smart.
cocaine.
They do cocaine.
We
got to cover that one.
They fuck them. Absolutely fuck them.
Yeah, I read a book of bear attacks once. It was one of the most horrific things I've ever read.
Oh, they're brutal.
You don't need a horror
They
movie
tear
in that
off your
case.
face and leave you alive.
Yeah, they're like one of the only land mammals that intentionally tries to capture its prey alive so that it can eat it alive. Like it purposely breaks your back so that you can't run. Like fuck them. Absolutely fuck them.
It does the head on the stick.
Yeah, it absolutely Wolf Creeks you. Anyway.
But men working in these areas of Michigan as well as Wisconsin, the men who work in these native woods have mostly encountered the dogmen, All of the encounters result in a terrified feeling as well as very much confusion and sort of state of what did I just see?
Yeah, no shit.
Yeah. So one interesting fact is the frequency in which the dogman appears. It is common legend that the dogman appears every 10 years and typically on years that end in a 7. So 2007, 2017, possibly 2027. I don't know. We're gonna wait 4 years and find out.
7 is a number that I have found associated with werewolves more than once. Yeah.
Really?
Interesting.
Yeah. Like 7th son of a 7th son. Stuff
Yeah,
like that.
there we go. I was trying to dig into it. I was like, I know there's something there with 7s, but I couldn't remember what it was.
I think there's more too, but off the top of my head, I'm not sure.
Let us know in the comments section when you go back and listen to our werewolves. Did we cover any of that or not?
I think
That would be interesting.
Yeah, I think.
Oh, right on. Well, there you go. More reason to check out our old shit.
So which we'll link that below as well so that you guys have an easier time checking that out.
Oh,
So the legend of the Dogman. The Legend of the Dogman. So Steve Cook wrote a song, and I believe in 1970. Pause for research. But Steve Cook wrote a song called The Legend of the Dogman song, and it actually came out in a year ending with a 7 in 2017. And it was basically a song that explained the legend of the Dogman. And it's a fun song. It's, pretty country. It definitely tells a story. And the response of this song was way different than what Steve had thought was going to happen. He definitely wanted it to resonate with listeners, but it resonated with them in a totally different effect. People began recounting their stories of seeing the Dogman instead of just enjoying the song.
Cool.
So now, from 2017 on, we have all of these stories of people who have gone out in the woods, have hunted in these woods, have built things, God forbid, poached, but we all know what happens,
Sure.
of them seeing the Dogman. Which, if you're out there poaching and you see the Dogman, that's karma working for you.
Yeah, but I'll say if a person starts their story, they're coming to me and they're like, hey, I saw the Michigan Dogman, and they start their story with, listen, I was out there poaching, I admit it. That ends at a level of believability to me that I'm not going to extend to other people.
Mm-hmm.
That's the story.
Yeah, it does.
Yeah,
I mean, if you're willing to
self-incriminating.
cop to that, you're like, listen, I understand that I was doing something bad, but a goddamn werewolf. Do you understand what I'm saying? Like, hey, all right,
No.
I'm listening.
One of the lines of the song is, he let out an earthly scream and stood on 2 legs. Now, just bookmark that, because we're getting ready to talk about a family, 1 father and 2 of his sons, 1 elder, 1 younger. Unfortunately, we don't know the names of the father and his son, so you'll hear me relate to them as, father, eldest son, youngest son. So this happened in Yoma, Michigan in 2010 in November. Father and 2 sons went on a hunting trip, and one of the sons would be pretty much sanctioned in a high tower looking over the valley where the dad and the other son would be hunting in this valley. So they pretty much set up like their tower is kind of like their main base for, deer hunting and being able to look off and see everything. And then the father and the younger son would be off in this valley. And they had a light system that they had worked out because it was starting to become nighttime. And the oldest son was to shine his flashlight at the top of this tower to indicate that the son or the youngest son and the father needed to come back. So they had this system worked out. So the older son would be in the tower. When he started to hear rustling below him, he actually looked down, trying to make out if it was his younger brother or his father coming back to the tower. Like maybe they needed something, maybe they spotted something, maybe they even needed a rest. So the eldest son, after looking down and not seeing his brother or his father there, then decided to look through the scope of his rifle to see if there was a deer or a raccoon or any kind of other animal that could be causing this rustling below him. So when he looked down, he actually did see something, and from what he could see, he thought it may be a bear. Judging from the fur, and it was turned in a way to where he could see the snout, which was a very long, narrow snout, much like a bear. So further confirming to this oldest son, okay, this is a bear. Okay, I'm not going to freak out. It's down here. I'm up here. It's fine. And I got a gun. It's cool.
That don't make you sick. Fuckers can climb. Listen, you just shoot it. Just shoot it. I know there's going to be a lot of people be like, don't do that.
Don't do
Fuck you. It'll eat you alive.
I mean, if you ain't fucking with it, I mean, I would imagine.
It'll still fuck with you.
Listen, I abide by the rules of don't want none, won't be none. If you come for some, there gonna be some.
Yeah.
So,
you're up in that tower and that thing's just like, hey.
food.
I don't even think it's that they go food. I think they just go, what the hell is that up in the tree? Oh, I can go check. I'm going to go check. And all of a sudden you're fucked.
Yeah.
Well, there are bears in Michigan. So
Oh, yeah.
You may get some people from Michigan that are like, we love our bears.
I'm sure they do. That's fine. They can stay up there.
There's Oswald's Bear Ranch up there.
Is it really?
Yeah.
Oh,
Oswald's
my
a
God.
fucking idiot.
He's kind of a big bear of a man himself. He's a tall, sturdy
Go
guy.
to the club like a normal person.
Yes. I think most of his bears are like rescues.
Aww. Anyway, so the older son would then notice that not only was the animal standing up on 2 legs, the legs were actually skinny and resembled that more of a dog than it did of a bear. So he would continue to watch the animal through his scope as it turned and made its way toward the tower. So it's trying to pretty much at this point figure out a way up to the tower, or at least investigating what is up there.
See to me?
So eventually the dog man would be directly underneath the floorboards where the oldest son was standing on. And then looking through the cracks of the floorboards, the oldest son could clearly see that it had the face of a dog. But based off the size and the prone nature, it absolutely couldn't be. It defied what we know dogs to be like, standing on their, 4 legs. And also, you got to think, how high up are these towers? They're like 8-10 feet in the air where this floorboard would be. And it's standing up and it can see its face like right underneath of the floorboard. So, I mean, it's big. Whether or not it's like straining itself to make itself a little bit bigger, it's big enough to where we can clearly see its face through the floorboards. Yeah. It's a big boy.
No.
How do you not just shoot on reflex?
I know, like, yeah.
You're shooting through your floorboard.
I don't know.
Right in the face.
Yeah, I feel like I would.
Here there be monsters. Fuck the floorboard.
Yeah, like every time they're like, it was a Bigfoot and I didn't shoot it, I was like, why? Like, listen, guys, if you're listening and you're like, I'm going to go prank somebody in a Bigfoot costume. If it's me, I'm bagging your ass. I'll pull up South Park, coming right towards me, and I'll shoot. We got to get a body. That's what everybody wants. Nobody wants to take the shot. So what if it's a little mask? Well, their time has come.
No.
The risks.
Yeah, don't play hunters, man.
Yeah. Yeah, don't. That's a bad plan.
Yeah, the woods are a terrifying place. Don't fuck around in there.
You need a
There's places that things won't fuck back. Anyway.
So the son would remain quiet while making sure to continue to see this animal through his scope. So he's still got his rifle on it because he's looking at it through his scope still. So after some time, the dogman would eventually lose interest in the tower and possibly its dinner after several minutes. So it's like, okay, this is not fruitful. I'm going to go find something else. So the son would then signal with his flashlight at his younger brother and father in the valley, alerting them that they needed to come back to the tower. So after a few moments, all 3 men would be reunited at the tower, inside the tower. And once they were all together, all 3 of this men, father, son, both sons, they would all confirm that they saw the same animal in the woods. They very quickly, after determining this at night, gathered what they had brought with them, left the tower and the woods, and the 3 men have never returned to these woods to hunt in since.
Damn.
So, and I mean, it's pretty crazy. Like, there's accounts of, a family in Wisconsin who have also seen similar sightings of this. You get people from all over the woodwork who are, near these heavily wooded areas who have seen the dogman. And there's a big difference between like the dogman and the werewolf, because with the werewolf, you kind of get like, okay, they transform back into human. From all accounts that I can find with the dogman, it's more like this thing just is what it is. Like, there's no shape shifting or anything like that. This is just a ginormous dog that can scream like a human and is incredibly huge and has yellow eyes. So
there's a lot of debate like in the cryptozoology world about because dogmen, if you really look, dogmen sightings, although there are like some in the past, it's like a relatively like recent cryptid. Like just started like it's like the last few decades these things have really been popping up a lot. So there's a lot of debate in the cryptozoology world about whether or not these things have just been around for a long time, but they just kind of all, like sightings and encounters with them just got kind of lumped in with Sasquatch. Reports. So that's a big thing in cryptozoology. So if you look, it's like dogmen just seem like all of a sudden now everyone's seeing dogmen like in the 70s on. But yeah, people suspect that these things just been around for a really long time, but they just get mistaken as Bigfoot because of their size, their appearance.
Interesting. I never considered that before.
There is like 3 different types of squashes, what we're going to say, Sasquatches. There's the sort of humanoid Sasquatch, the sort of dog-like Sasquatch, and then there's even a bat squatch too. There's a Sasquatch that looks like a bat.
Yeah, that's out west.
Mm-hmm.
Got bat squatches.
I think they have been around because there are tales from the late 1800s all the way up until now. So I know you're looking at me like, what is the bat squatch?
Eric and Jerry have clearly never heard of bat squatch before. They're like, what the fuck? It's exactly what it sounds like.
It really is.
Bigfoot with vengeance.
With wings. Yeah, it's got wings. It's pretty interesting. It's out west, I think, is mainly where it's at, if I recall.
There was sightings of it flying over Mount St. Helens before it erupted.
Yes.
That might have been Mothman, though.
They could have been.
I think it
could
was
have been
Mothman.
another Mothman.
Yeah, they could be. So there's the Owl of Cornwall, which you could potentially also be the same thing as Bat Squatch, which they could be confusing as the Mothman. You know, all of these things are possible.
Ooh.
So that is what I've got on the Michigan Dogman. Kind of a short, sweet telling to keep you all questioning when you go into the woods.
There's a really great documentary. So Small Town Monsters. It's like a local Ohio group that do these. They do these really great documentaries. Like
they do. They're
full time.
Their documentaries are phenomenal.
There's which by the way, I don't know. This might. So like they release on Amazon Prime. Like they release them. It's like $9.99 to watch them. I don't know if people know this, but like the same day they release on Prime for like $10, they also release on Tubi for free. So I don't know how that is, or they don't advertise it. Maybe I'm just like spilling the beans, but yeah. So the same day these things come out, advertised for sale, they come out on Tubi for free. So if anyone's a fan of those, they don't advertise that, but it's a thing. So there you go. But there's a really great documentary they put out just last year called American Werewolves.
Ooh.
That's all about Dogman. That is a fantastic documentary. So
they also have one on the Beast of Bray Road, which is like tangentially connected.
Yes.
Which
yeah.
I think we're going to be hearing about at some point.
In that American Werewolves, which is where I got my story from when we get to it. But there's like reports from like people who report like seeing Sasquatch and Dogman at the same time.
Oh,
like working together, like Dogmen are like the bloodhounds of the Sasquatch.
Right.
Yeah. Yeah. It's really creepy.
I don't like that. I don't like them working together like that.
It's very creepy. Like imagine that. Like not one, but two. Yeah, exactly. But now we can go on. We're gonna hear our first tale from our Cultober guys. I think Ben, you're going up now, right?
Hot damn!
All right.
All right.
Has anybody here not heard of the Beast of Gévaudan?
I have not.
Werewolf episode.
We did. So we're going to be revisiting it here just because I have developed some new theories of my own, having done some extra research. So I wanted to revisit it and tell you what my new spin on it. And I was kind of talking to Eric about it. I actually think it's more wild. Maybe not more wild. That might be a bit of an exaggeration. Yeah. But if I'm right, I think it's as crazy as practically a werewolf.
Okay.
So anyway, the Beast of Gévaudan, I'm not going to try to do all the Frenchy names. There's a few that I'm going to try just out of posterity's sake, but I'm just not going to. This is like the granddaddy of all werewolf stories. This is where we get a lot of kind of our classical idea of werewolves, where the silver bullet comes from, the women and children going after children. That's where this comes from. So anyway, this took place in 1764 all the way up to 1767. In France, in a little area called Gévaudan. If you've ever seen the movie Sleepy Hollow, those forests that were created by Tim Burton, that's a lot like what this place is.
Oh, okay, cool.
So the rednecks in France go, "Oh, you're going out there, huh?" Like this place, like when France was really modernizing, this place was practically forgotten. They did things basically 2 or 3 centuries behind everybody else.
Oh, wow.
It was cold. It was hard to grow crops. It's a really shitty place to live is what I'm trying to get at. And just one day, just a spring day in 1764, a 14-year-old girl came into town and she reported that she had been attacked by a giant wolf. She claimed that this thing was about the size of a calf. It was rust-colored, so brown and kind of gray. It had a long brown stripe down its back, complete with a long tasseled tail, which wolves don't have. She claimed that its face was scrunched more like a pig's than a wolf's, so very kind of flattened up. This thing leapt. So that's a key important description there. Leapt at her when she was out, because she was out herding cattle. And that's another big theme, is this thing always seemed to attack people when it was dealing with livestock.
Okay.
So it leapt out at her and leapt at her several times as she was trying to get away from it when the bulls of the cows and stuff actually started chasing it, managed to chase it away and save her life.
Wow. Okay.
That kicked off this whole thing, and within months there was an attack a week, sometimes more. One lady, they actually were able to track where she was out gathering berries or whatever out in the woods. When she was chased, she was literally mauled and killed 2 feet from her doorstep.
Jesus Christ.
Oh.
That's terrible.
I mean, they do say most accidents happen within a mile of your own home.
This was not an accident. Her throat had been ripped out to the point where she was practically decapitated.
Wow.
This was
Worst case of suicide I've ever heard of.
So that I don't take up a lot of time, there were 210 attacks through this entire span. 113 deaths, 49 injuries, and only 98 of the dead were eaten.
Wow.
Wow.
98 out of
Is it-
200?
No,
Is that
out of
movie-
113.
Oh,
Is that movie The Cursed based on this?
I
Like that one that just came out a couple years ago?
don't know. I didn't see it, so maybe.
Oh, maybe.
Yeah, I haven't
It's kind of
seen it.
similar.
Another key aspect of this is most of the victims were attacked at the throat. Their throats were ripped out to the point of decapitation. It went after women and children primarily, but men were attacked and killed as well. So this thing was just mauling everybody.
No
There was
discretion.
a group of 4 men that were attacked. I didn't bother writing down his name. His first name was Jacques. And after that, I saw FXQ and went, nah. Him and his group of guys were out when they were attacked by this thing. They managed to get into a circle and defend themselves from it. This caught this account, because there was more than one witness at a time, caught the attention of King Louis the 15th. He declared Mr. Jacques a national hero, paid him $500, the equivalent of $500. The rest of his surviving men, he paid them $200, and then even funded their educations at the taxpayers' expense. They got a country funded education after that.
I'm so glad the people paid for that.
Why I don't know.
Anytime I hear that a king or someone used taxpayer expense for something, I'm like, that was not yours to give, sir.
Well, being king actually, it is.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That wasn't
How
a
does
democracy.
that better the farmland?
Service to the crown.
Yeah.
Looks like that movie The Cursed is based on this. So if you guys ever check
Nice.
out The Cursed, it came out in 2021. It's pretty good.
Okay, cool.
It's very
But also, to quote a very famous, very intelligent man, it's good to be the king. But so in response to this, he sent dragoons, which, if anybody know what dragoons are light armored cavalry. I think sometimes they carry rifles, but primarily they're swords, pistols. The main bad guys from The Patriot. If you ever watch The Patriot with Mel Gibson, those guys on horseback that are riding into the battle and kind of breaking the lines, but they don't necessarily have heavy artillery. Those are dragoons.
okay.
I couldn't find the exact number, but I did find an account that said that, including the dragoons, Louis sent a force of 30,000 volunteers to
Jesus
try to
Christ.
track this thing down. Not all soldiers, but just this mass group of people.
30,000.
That's
people.
one. So I couldn't find a backing. Like, I couldn't find where they got this number, but that was the only number that I could find. So let me know in the comment section if you guys find something else and where. I would love to know it. 30,000 seems like a lot to me, but heck,
That-
who am I
yeah,
to
that's-
argue with the king?
Yeah.
I mean, that's like the population of Chillicothe.
Yeah, but I mean, it could be like 100 dragoons, and then the rest are starving peasants. He's like, "Hey, wake up!
Yeah.
Do a thing." When the dragoons got down there, they actually found that the place was like wrecked. People weren't going to fairs have been canceled. People weren't going to outside. They weren't farming. Citizens were not allowed to own firearms because French. And so they were forced to try to defend themselves with spears and sticks and rocks. Several people had died in the attempt to hunt down the beast with these stupid, cave dwelling weapons. And the dragoons were really ineffective. They did manage to kill one wolf that they claimed was the beast. right up until all the killings kept going. So,
Like the Jaws situation.
yeah, yes, this actually happened multiple times. It seems like Louis got really invested in taking this thing down, and so everybody under him was invested in telling him that they got it. He fired the dragoons basically, and he hired a father and son professional wolf hunters. They had practically, again, not going to try to pronounce the Frenchy French names, but they were famous for practically wiping out wolves in Normandy.
Was their name
Wow.
No. If it was, I would have gone out of my way to mention that. But they were like wolf exterminators. So they went and they tried a more stealthy approach, and they claimed to have shot it multiple times, but didn't kill it. And the king was getting even more upset because people were still dying through all of this. They even tried, and also they were adding extra pressure by pissing off the locals. Whenever somebody would die, they would leave the body because
Jesus.
they wanted to use it as bait. So they weren't allowed to bury their loved ones. And so this was really upsetting the locals as well. So he brought in, this is one guy that I am going to try to pronounce just because you want to put some effort in there. Francois Antonet.
You did pretty good there.
Yeah.
Sounded good.
Sounded pretty Frenchy.
Yeah. He was the royal arms bearer and also master of the hunt, which is a really shitty way of saying when the king wanted to go hunt, this guy had to go in and like drive out the game right at him so that he didn't have to do things.
Oh.
He went, and him and the sons got into an argument. They had conflicting ways of dealing with things. So the father and son ended up bouncing, and this kind of effectively ruined their careers. I mean,
That sucks. They're
Does
not
it?
cooperating.
does
with
it? Go fuck yourself. This is the most famous, like, this wolf is killing hundreds of people. You're the wolf guys, and you can't do it? Get out of here. Go away.
They're dealing with the king's like hunt, hoity-toity hunter guy who comes in and
You took the job.
yeah.
I mean,
yeah.
a part of taking a job is you do have to deal with certain people that you otherwise would not be dealing with unless you had taken this job. And you understand that when you sign on for the job. I am paying you to deal with these people.
And I didn't find, this is 100% speculation, but I have some reasons to think this. I'm betting they didn't treat the locals very well.
Oh, probably.
So
Why would they? I'm sure.
Beneath them, yeah, I'm sure.
So Francois Antonet came in and he killed a 5'7", 5'7" long, 130-pound wolf, and declared his job done and went home. Yeah, he's like, all good here. He got it stuffed. He took it to Versailles, which is where the king was chilling out. The king gave him a nice, big like howdy doody. He was all happy about it. Another guy that was with him decided to stay behind because they claimed to have saw a wolf, a female wolf, and with some pups. He claimed to have killed them. Offered no proof whatsoever. He claimed that they had a double dew claw, which is a birth defect common to some large dogs, including Great Pyrenees, which Great Pyrenees were around then. So it could have been a wolf Great Pyrenees hybrid that produced the large size, if you believe their accounts at all. Me personally, it sounds like this one dude shot the biggest wolf he could find, went back to the king, got his reward. The other dude tried to get as much reward as he could by claiming to do a thing that he didn't prove.
Yeah.
So they went home. The crown considered it to be case closed at that point, done and dusted, but the killings were still happening. So comes in Jean Chastel, who is our primary hero of the story. He's a nobody. He's a farmer. He is a professional livestock tender. It seems like that was a job that he did. So he was allowed to have firearms because it pertained to his job. He claims to have killed the thing. You can find a picture of it. There is an actual picture of it. It's obviously very old tintype. It looks like a goddamn hyena to me. But he claimed to have come across it in a search party, and he shot and killed it. And what made his different is that the story goes that he melded his bullets out of a silver medallion from St. Mary.
Oh, okay.
And that he recited a prayer and shot it with a silver bullet, and that's what brought it down. He then had it taxidermied and took it to the king, who promptly ridiculed him and burned the body.
Jeez.
Claiming that this guy was just trying to come in on the other dude's laurels and that they had already taken care of the problem. The reaction to this guy was ridiculous. The newspapers started claiming that that the whole thing, the entire thing was nothing more than a pack of wolves, that these dumb peasants who couldn't read, didn't know any better, they had all just been confused and didn't know what a wolf looked like, and that literally everybody involved that wasn't from this town just immediately turned and called all the peasants retards. Just like, didn't know what you were talking about. You're all dumb. This was just wolves, go away. But however, so to bring to my theory, I don't think this was a werewolf. However, this is the story where we get the silver bullet, the killing of children. This is where that started. I think it was a lion. But there were several what they called menageries back in France at that time. Menageries were basically traveling zoos.
Savo man-eaters of France kind of thing? Or?
So think about the description of the beast versus a lion. Rust-colored with a brown line down its back, a long tasseled tail, and a scrunched up nose. This creature ambushed people and pounced, and wolves go for hindquarters, arms, shoulders. They try to drag their opponent, their prey down. Lions, large cats, go for the throat. Almost all of these victims' throats were rended to the point of decapitation. It would also, as I was kind of talking this out with Eric, he pointed out that might be why they had such trouble hunting it. They were hunting dogs when they should have been hunting a cat.
Different behaviors
methods.
would lead to different,
It also explains the pouncing, where this thing wouldn't run its prey down, it would ambush and jump. That's very cat.
Yeah. And why it wouldn't disturb the deceased bodies that they left for bait. Cats are super picky.
Yep.
You know that for sure, don't you?
I sure do.
Luger over there.
So that is the Beast of Gévaudan.
That's beautiful. I
Yeah.
love that.
Nice.
I like that lion theory.
That came out of nowhere. I wasn't expecting that.
Yeah, that rings pretty. That sounds pretty right to me. And they would have no fucking idea what that thing was out there.
So there were references. Me and Eric were talking about this. There were references in drawings of lions. If you look at the drawings, A, they're not super accurate. But B, you really have to understand how isolated this town was. These people were way far back compared to everybody else. So even if there were pictures and descriptions of lions, there's every real possibility these people never heard of it.
Right. And
they would have
never
no
come
frame of
across
reference.
any sort of documentation that would give them an idea of what that was.
However, if this thing was brought down by a silver bullet,
But did it get brought down because the bullet was silver, or just because it was a bullet? Then becomes the question.
Or because of the blessing and the fact that it was a saint medallion.
Mary.
Mary, yeah.
Mary's.
So, could be the faith.
Could be.
Yeah.
So there are reports of this thing being shot multiple times. Stabbed with spears, bludgeoned with rocks. This thing took a lot of damage it's not outside the realm of possibility that he got just that shot that landed.
All right.
Yeah, that lucky shot.
But nevertheless, theories go all over the place of this being a lion, a werewolf, obviously. Spotted fucking hyena for some reason. Again, the hyena one pops up a lot, and I'm just like, okay. But there's no reports of... So I would think that a hyenas make very specific sounds that even I would expect, the thing giggles like a demon or something, Yeah. I would expect some weird...
very distinct.
I would expect. And there's zero reports of this thing making strange noises. So I just can't... I could do the menagerie theory into the hyena, right? But also hyenas, I don't think are particularly known to go for the throat. And they're not very pouncy.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah. And they're not really powerful enough to be going after cattle by themselves.
Well, so that's the weird thing. It went after people that were tending cattle. There's no reports of it going after cattle. There's no animal deaths.
Oh.
This thing was specifically targeting human, just like the Salvo man-eaters.
Okay.
Very interesting theory. I wasn't expecting that.
So that's mine.
That's yours. We'll go ahead and go on to mine now.
Right.
So I got this actually from... I never heard about this prior to watching that American Werewolves documentary that Small Town Monsters did. Heard about it. It's really interesting. So have you guys ever heard of a place called Land Between the Lakes in Kentucky?
No.
Okay. So that's where we're going today.
No.
That's where we're going.
Is this the place where they make the butter?
No, that's Land of Lakes.
Oh, darn.
That's where is that? That's out west, right? It's Wisconsin, maybe Minnesota, something like that. Don't they call one of those states the Land of the Lakes?
Land of a Thousand Lakes. Paul Bunyan
Yeah.
made those.
Yep.
We covered that in our Tall Tales.
There you go. You get
Cultober
more
covers
lore.
everything.
You can wrap this episode into a few episodes of Cult of Lore.
Fuck yeah.
It's all connected.
Paul Bunyan's a werewolf.
It might be. He did have a pet.
Pet blue ox.
Yeah. I don't know if that's...
Turned into a werewolf. Yeah.
Have you ever seen the Paul Bunyan horror movie from a few years back?
No.
No.
Oh, that's really
my
good.
God. I remember it though. I haven't seen it.
It's actually pretty good. It's a pretty decent movie.
We disagree on that term.
It's pretty decent. So we're going to Land Between the Lakes, designated in 1963 by President John F. Kennedy as a 171,000 acre national recreation area.
Beautiful.
Land Between the Lakes sits between Lake Berkeley and Kentucky Lake, which is why it gets its name. It's just a state forest, and it's in between two big lakes. So that's where it gets its name. It sits between two lakes.
They were very creative.
Very creative. Very creative. You know what you're getting into when you go to Land Between the Lakes. You're going to be in land between two lakes.
Quite majestic,
It's
really.
an efficient way to name things.
There could be 4 lakes. You don't fucking know. Don't
Yeah,
be on the name.
you just know when you're going there, you're going to at least be adjacent to some lakes.
Yeah, but nobody levels that shit. Nobody levels that critique at like Death Valley.
No,
I'm pretty sure.
maybe they should. They should. Well, if anyone goes on Death Valley and dies, it's like, how can I feel sympathy for you? You went to a place called Death Valley. You should be fully aware of what can and possibly will happen to you.
Like Dialogue Pass, it literally translates into the land of don't go there.
Yeah.
It's like, what the fuck? Yeah, Mount Doom.
What are you doing? For hundreds of years, long before the first white settlers, Native Americans told stories of a half-man, half-wolf creature that roamed this land. It was suggested that it could have been the beast known as the Skinwalker. Skinwalkers are, of course, if you're talking about werewolves or dogmen, Skinwalkers are right there with them. These Caninian man beasts, they all kind of get mixed in with each other sometimes.
They're like cousins.
Basically, yeah, basically.
Different breeds.
Different breeds. I guess, would they have different lore as well? Skinwalkers have a much different lore, right? Don't they?
Yeah, they have
Mhm.
they have a very extensive lore and belief into them. We might talk about them on Conspiracy at some point in time.
Yeah, at some point,
I don't
yeah.
know. There's
Yeah.
definitely
I'm sure there's there's opportunities for it.
They're kind of closer to witches or shamans in a way.
Yeah, they're more
well,
mystical, right?
Yeah, they're like, what if a witch and a werewolf had a baby?
Yep. So it would be known as the Beast of LBL. So the Beast of Land Between the Lakes.
LBL.
LBL. This beast is host to several legends, including the story of a man who in the early 1800s fled to the area after being banished from Europe. He suffered from a horrible affliction that caused him to go mad after sunset. So the sun would go down and he would just go mad. What'd you call it?
Sundowners.
Sundowners.
This 80-year-old man be like, why am I leaving? I like my baguettes. And there he goes. Now he's just trapped in the woods. I'm sorry, where's my family?
it's the first.
Well, whatever it was also genetic. So when he had offspring, apparently he found some woman who was willing to put up with his after sunset madness and had some kids with her, and the offspring also were afflicted with the same madness. So basically, I have a whole family of people who go mad after sunset, which I imagine like the poor wife or whoever gave birth to these kids, like she must have had one hell of a life.
Oh, yeah.
Because she would have been the only one that wasn't afflicted by this. So come sunset, she's like, Jesus, it's about to start. Like fucking everyone in her whole fucking house just goes mad as soon as the sun goes down.
She was the original creator of the she shed.
She shed.
She needed a place to escape, so she made her own little. That was where the man cave came from. It was a cave to hide from the men.
Listen, we've had enough of them retroactively going back and claiming that women invented all the stuff that men did. The man cave belongs to us. You can't have it.
You can have your fucking she shed or whatever it is.
It's
Yeah, you
fine.
can have
She
that.
shed sounds cozier.
Yeah.
Yeah. around this area, hunters began to disappear, and they would night would fall, and this area would just echo wild howls throughout the night. Mutilated bodies of bison were found, half-eaten with deep claw marks, and their throats ripped completely out. So that was what was haunting this area. All of a sudden around this area, it's just nothing good around there in land between the lakes.
Oh my God.
There began stories of something roaming the land between the lakes, and this didn't stay buried in history. It happened that long ago, but it was far from one of those tales just vanishes to history. In 1973, a group of college students found themselves stalked by a large howling creature with red glowing eyes. This creature circled their campsite and seemed to not be alone as they began to hear wild howling all around them. The group grew so frightened that they took off in their van. As the group fled, they saw a massive shadowy figure in pursuit. As they slowed to make a sharp turn, the van came to a sudden jolting stop. For a moment, the van was stuck on something.
Mm.
The van broke free and the group was able to safely escape. Upon reaching safety, they inspected their van and found it had sustained deep claw marks along the body, like something was holding the van, and they tore free from it. So this massive beast holding their van. It's a 1970s van. Those are big, heavy some bitches. So it had to be something pretty strong to keep that thing held,
for a minute.
steady. Yeah. These students were lucky to have escaped. But one of the most popular accounts of encountering the beast of LBL occurred in the 1980s. Details of this encounter are very sparse, almost to the point that it seems like the details either don't exist or maybe they're being covered up.
Dun, dun, dun.
Ooh, you get the chills.
No, but my
You wanna
ears
get the
perked up nice and big. I sound like a cover up. I'm like, what? Cover up? Tell me more.
Park rangers patrolling the LBL area discovered an RV belonging to a family who were visiting the area on a camping trip. The RV was supposed to be home to this lovely family, but now it was a grisly scene as it was covered in deep claw marks and completely soaked in blood.
Oh, no.
The mutilated bodies of the family were spread throughout the campsite.
I'm sure they're fine.
Yeah, they're probably right. You get a cut, you get a cut, you panic, blood goes everywhere, but it's the end of the day, you're fine. The mutilated bodies of the family were spread throughout the campsite, each body torn limb from limb, and the half-eaten body of the young daughter was found lodged high up in a nearby tree.
Oh,
That ain't a fucking werewolf. That's a Wendigo. Werewolves don't hide shit in trees.
that's true. No.
Oh, is that one of the Wendigo things? They hide things in trees?
The Wendigos, you divide them into the creature aspect and then like the demon aspect, right? Because it's kind of like a possession. But the creature aspect of it definitely has been known to hide stuff in trees for sure. Just like a shrike.
Quickly, the Park Service contacted local law enforcement, who, according to some conspiracy theorists, covered up the entire scene. At the time, this area of Kentucky was struggling financially. And local law enforcement knew that if word of a massacre got out and news of a bloodthirsty monster roaming the forests was to get out, it would completely destroy the tourist business and cripple the area. More of that Jaws influence. The mayor, they must have elected the mayor of Jaws. After the events of Jaws 2, I think the mayor moved to Kentucky. He thought, finally I'm away from water and the damn sharks.
Yeah, but you know what's stupid is I bet he's still wearing that blue anchor and suit.
Well, but this time it happened, and he's like, I know what to do. Like,
I know who I'm calling.
Just hush. Just hush up. It'll go away eventually.
I was too honest with Jaws. I should have had it more.
Nobody stopped me this time.
The explanation given was that there was a series of random stabbings, but no bodies were ever found. The area where the massacre occurred is called Moss Creek, and to this day, there has been a gate erected around this area, and overnight camping is completely banned.
Oh,
No one is allowed to be in the area after dark.
It's better to ask forgiveness than permission anyway.
not in this case.
Local authorities refuse to discuss any such incident. There's been many podcasters and I'm sure authors and stuff that have tried to probe into this. supposed urban legend, but local authorities refused to even entertain the idea that anything happened or if there was such an event that occurred.
It's just like the casket girls. Don't ask about it.
Right. Yeah.
Now, I did find there apparently was there's a podcast out. This is just something I read in brief detail, so I don't have a whole lot on it. There was a podcast that came out a few years back that apparently they're claimed to be a survivor of this massacre.
Oh?
See, apparently the family that got massacred, there was a neighbor boy who they were he was friends with one of the kids or whatever. So he got to go along for the camping trip. And the way he puts it is, everything's going fine. There was camping, everyone's having fun. And then I think it was the little girl was the first to go. She disappears. The family panics. They're looking around. They start hearing howls. Next thing you know, it's besieged by these beasts. This kid hides under the RV, and the beasts don't find him, but he watches as the whole family's massacred. He's left there. The local authorities found him and basically threatened him and swore him to secrecy until years later. He's an old man now. This happened in the 70s, so he'd be however old that is, and finally decided he wants to come forth and tell his tale. Or he's just some random guy who wants to make money.
Yeah.
But experienced hunters to this day avoid land between the lakes. People who venture into the area report feeling watched or stalked. Deep nest-like holes have been found all over the area with tufts of coarse gray hair inside. People refer to these as the bunkers. People will say, they find bunkers. Mm-hmm. It's something's camping out or hiding there. And sightings of the beast continue to this day, with descriptions being of a large 7-foot canine-like creature standing upright with claws, fangs, and glowing red eyes. And that is what is known as the Beast of LBL.
I got to know more about this connection with werewolves and the number 7. We need to, we got to make a short or something about that, because that is
7 feet tall.
Too weird to see in 2 different stories the number 7 popping up, because you and I didn't discuss this whatsoever, so that's really weird to me.
Yeah,
they all seem to be about 7 foot.
Yeah, about 7 foot. Yeah.
And this when I was watching that American Werewolves documentary, this land between the lakes is also one of the areas where hunters and park rangers report seeing the Bigfoot Dogman duos,
the team up,
the team ups. Yeah, so I remember reading that or watching. There was 2 hunters who were hunting in the area. They go separate ways. They meet up later. They're both terrified. They're talking about things they saw, and it's they're similar. But as they start talking more and more, it's they're 2 completely separate creatures that they each encountered. So that's pretty wild.
There's your movie, Ty. We can go to Bulgaria and do Bigfoot versus Dogman.
Oh, that'd be a good one.
Oh, yeah.
I'll do that. Or
Bigfoot and Dogman versus the world.
Oh, there you go.
2 star-crossed lovers against the world.
I like it.
We're making a romance goat. Have Bigfoot and the Dogman just making pottery.
Oh, there we go.
They
just want to be left alone and a bunch of kids interrupt them.
Oh, gosh.
So now we're going to hear from Cultober's Jerry. What do you got for us, Jerry?
Hello, everybody.
What's up, babe?
I am so sorry, our dear listeners and our dear friends with Cult of Lore. I am going to have to leave on a very, very special assignment.
Oh, duty calls.
Duty does call, but I leave you in the tremendous care of Ty, who I know will take care of you. And listeners, I love you so much. I'm so sorry to have to leave you early, but duty does call. So love you all.
Yeah, no worries. We'll be back next week.
Absolutely. I will speak with you guys next week on the next episode of Cult Talks Conspiracy.
TTFN.
TTFN.
Ta-ta for now.
Oh. I hadn't heard that one before.
I was lost as well. I was I don't know what that means.
Nobody's watched Winnie the Pooh, man. That's Tigger.
Oh, I didn't know that was one of his catchphrases.
TTFN. Ta-ta for now.
We're pirating.
The more you know. You'll learn all kinds of stuff on this episode.
Fuck yeah, we're here to educate.
So what do you?
Educate and entertain. Hold on, let Jerry. get his fucking-
We're readjusting some equipment. Yeah,
yeah,
we're
we're
readjusting equipment.
cannibalizing materials.
Stand by here. Stand by.
Jesus,
Yo.
It was a dog.
he fell.
Hang on, we have a dog on your cord. Here, actually, how about this?
Why
There
don't
we
you guys
go.
just switch
Yeah.
mics?
Hello.
Hi. So the Werewolf of Ansbach.
Ansbach?
Ansbach. You guys ever heard of that one?
No.
Never heard of it. Sounds like a Star Wars
I know.
planet.
It does. That's news to me.
I don't think we covered this one on our episode.
No.
In 1685 is when this was happening
1685.
in the Principality of Ansbach, which is in Bavaria. It's modern day middle of Germany.
Oh, okay.
I think at the time it might have been the Holy Roman Empire.
Yes.
Yes.
It probably would have been.
Damn it,
Yeah.
quit. You're like a split second ahead of me. Every time I go to say something,
Yes,
Eric's got to just, yeah. Oh, yeah. Yes, yeah. Damn it. Yeah.
Of course.
It's almost like we have overlapping interests or something.
Yeah.
Podcast brain.
It's what it is.
Podcast.
So there was a wolf attacking livestock, as wolves do.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
Eventually the wolf started killing some children.
As
So
wolves do.
Then people were like, uh-oh. So then they were like, it must be a werewolf.
Yeah, of course.
It's the natural next step. Yep.
And then somebody was like, it's probably that magistrate guy that died, the Burgermeister. Nobody liked him.
Burgermeister.
Burgermeister.
Yeah, a Burgermeister is somewhere between like a mayor and a ruler.
Oh,
Okay.
Between
Okay. I feel like
But
that's
his
from
name is the Burgermeister?
The
Yeah.
Burgermeister.
How did McDonald's go to
Yeah, I know. I was gonna say that sound like a defunct like McDonald's character. Like
Yes. There's
Yeah.
like a
Yeah.
Christmas cartoon movie that has the Burgermeister in it. I can't remember the name of it, but let us know in the comments.
you think of a heat miser?
The Tale Before Santa Claus, according to Burgermeister, Meister Burger, according to Bailey, who's running out the door. It's yes. There we go. Thank you, Bailey.
Excellent.
But she doesn't know TTFN.
You guys should do a lore episode on the McDonald's characters. I read apparently they have like a super deep lore for whatever reason.
Ooh.
Like all the characters like Hamburglar and all that. Apparently
I can see
McDonald's fleshed out McDonald's fleshed out their lore pretty big, I guess, in like the 90s with these.
Yeah,
like,
did you know
those
that Grimace is a
cassettes.
walking taste bud?
I heard that.
Is that what it is?
That's
So whenever he's hugging children, he's
He's licking them.
He's tasting
You
them.
think, whoa, Jesus Christ.
whoa. Okay.
Yeah,
We'll take it under consideration. Not
Inappropriate.
because of that, but
like I guess he has like a whole like family. Like there's like a whole like Grimace family that was in like a. It reminded me of like the Star Wars holiday special, how like they did like the
Yeah,
something like that.
I saw a brief clip of it, and it looks roughly. Do you ever see the Dinosaurs TV show where it's like the "I'm the baby"?
The
gotta-
puppets?
Yeah. Oh, I love that show. I haven't watched that right now.
It was
okay.
Yeah.
It's fucking weird.
Oh, no.
Yeah. There you go. There's your episode, you guys.
There's yet another tidbit of
Right
Yeah.
down.
People will be clamoring for that one. You guys should have done it around when that Grimace shake came out. That'd have been
All right.
super topical. But go on, Jerry.
His name was Michael Late.
Okay. Late.
Bavarian German name here.
Yeah.
Michael Hoch.
The Burgermeister Michael Late. And I guess he was really cruel and hated, and nobody liked him, and people were like glad that he was dead. That like, wasn't enough, though. So he had recently died, and then they said that he has escaped death by transferring his soul into a wolf.
Mm. Okay.
So someone said they saw him attend his own funeral, and
Wow.
yeah.
Creepy.
I would love to be able to do that.
As a wolf, he came out as he was tended as
I think they
a wolf hanging out.
as like himself.
They meant his
Okay.
body, like him.
But the next sighting of him is him going back to his old apartment, like as a wolf,
Okay.
but, like walking on two legs and draped in like a white linen, like scaring away the tenants.
well dressed.
Like, oh, there he is.
He's like, you know what? This werewolf shtick's just not doing it. But a ghost werewolf.
Yeah.
Yes. So anyway, the wolf must be hunted.
Of course.
They decided to hunt this wolf down and kill it. And they made a wolf scroob.
What's a wolf scroob?
A wolf scroob.
Is that a scrotum of a wolf?
Sounds like a made up Dwight Schrute word.
It kind of does. It's like a pit that they made. You make like a
Okay.
hole with stone walls, and you make it 3 to 4
okay.
meters deep. cover it with branches and straw.
Oh,
and,
for the wolf to step in.
and then you bait it with
Just
something
droop in.
alive.
Just
Yeah.
droop in.
So this time they baited it with a rooster.
Yeah, okay.
There's
And so-
cocks.
They got the wolf. The wolf, fell in the trap and they killed it.
Okay.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
And the story would end there, but it doesn't.
Oh.
Because ghost werewolf won't be put down, motherfucker.
They really hated this guy. So they killed the wolf and they paraded it through the streets and they're like, hey, we got the Burgermeister that was a dickhead.
Yeah.
Now we're going to fuck his corpse.
And so they skinned the corpse of this wolf and then they cut off its muzzle. So cut off its
Oh.
face.
Christ.
So it's like short nosed.
Yeah. Disfigured it.
And then they put a wig on it
Okay.
Okay.
to make it look like him. And they give it a cloak. And then
They turned it into an effigy of it?
yeah, the source I had said they put a cardboard mask on him, but in 1685, I'm not sure what sort of cardboard they'd be working with.
That's a good point. Yeah. I wonder
But
what
maybe it was like
early
cardstock
cardboard
or
was
something
like.
they
Yeah. Yeah.
But they did make like a face that looked like
Yeah.
the Burgermeister.
I wonder if cardboard had the
Definition may have changed, or maybe it was just like, paper pulp that they just thickened.
yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah.
Either way, these guys went.
They went to a lot of
Yeah.
Yeah,
well,
I don't understand. Why would they?
The last time I heard like somebody go to this level to like degrade somebody, they were putting him on a piece of wood with some thorns on his head. intense.
yeah,
These people had like an axe to grind against this guy, like even in death.
no
I
kidding.
think they should have reinvestigated his death because I think there's several suspects.
They hung it from a
Jesus.
gibbet, which is like a wooden kind of structure thing
yeah.
on a hill so that everyone could see it.
Make sure he's on display.
Yeah.
Uh huh.
And then after a while, they took it down and preserved it and put it in a museum.
Oh my God.
No
I tried
rest
to find
for the
a
wicked.
picture of it, so I couldn't. So I
That's
assume that
That's
it's
probably
not
a good
out
thing.
there
That's
anymore.
probably a good thing.
It may have degraded so much that they.
I would hope
Yeah,
so. I would
couldn't use
really
it
hope
anymore.
so. I'd really hope so.
Good Lord.
So that's the end of the story.
That's brutal. That is
Jesus.
brutal.
That just illustrates how people react to such things,
Yeah.
Yeah.
especially back then.
And there's a couple theories on why it was like that. They think maybe it was a message to the new Burgermeister, not to be like quite a head.
Oh.
This is what will happen. Yeah.
Hey, motherfucker.
Like, yeah, this
Yeah.
you see what happened?
Yeah, we'll dress a dog up like you and kill it.
Yeah.
You will find no peace in your death.
Yes.
Man,
Or it could have been
Tormented.
orchestrated by the new Burgermeister to be like, this is
Oh.
a new era. We're gonna,
oh, that would seem
like, we didn't
interesting.
like
Yeah.
that guy either. Like,
Yeah.
Yeah,
we're gonna
that's a
do
good
things
way of
different.
ingratiating yourself to the.
Yeah.
Yeah, I guess.
And werewolves being associated with the undead is not a new thing either. So that, I think there's other cases of that too, where it's kind of like you die and then come back as a werewolf. I feel like I've heard that before.
Well, yeah, if you're already infected with the werewolf virus
Right.
and you're not killed by something that's silver, then
Yeah. You don't die.
you don't die.
Mhm. What drew me to this story was this image that is like an old etching
Oh.
of a depiction of the corpse hanging from a thing.
Uh-huh.
And you can see like the eyes are just really creepy. And,
Oh
like,
yeah, I'll make sure it's posted on our socials.
Nice.
Nice.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Jerry sent me a picture of it. I'll make sure I post that up.
Yeah, I can't wait to
It's
see
just
that.
this mutilated wolf corpse dressed up like a person is
Oh, that is so weird.
sitting up there, probably flies smelling around it.
Oh man, I
The
can't.
smell.
Oh god.
Maggots crawling in out of that motherfucker.
Ugh.
Like,
So don't become a Burgermeister.
No. Yeah, if
Or
you
be a
are,
good-
yeah, if you
Yeah,
are,
yeah,
yeah, be a good one. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah,
Must-
or we'll kill a
You
dog
must
and dress
Meister.
up like you. Yeah.
All right, Eric, what
Yeah.
do you got?
All right.
What do you got for us, Eric?
Okay, that I do. That was a good one though. That was something I had not even heard
No.
any inkling of. So that was a.
I
big-
had never heard of that. No.
This one I brought you guys a very strange and unique, to me, tale of werewolfness. We are going to be talking about a man named Thies of Cultober, also known as the Livonian Werewolf.
Is he from Livonia?
He is from Livonia, which was occupied by Swede. Wow, brain fart. It was at the time Swedish Livonia.
Okay.
So the town was named. Here we go. I hate myself for this. Jürgensburg. I think I
love
did it
it.
right. Yeah. So Thies was an old man at the start of our tale. This was in 1691, and he was in his 80s. I'm not quite sure what age. but he was called to court by the judges as a possible witness to a case regarding a church robbery. So somebody stole from the church, and they think that Thies might have seen or heard something. So they that's it. That's what put him in front of the judges. And then this wild story comes out.
Oh shit.
Unprompted, Thies lets them know that he was a werewolf, but he didn't. He had given that up about 10 years prior. This will make more sense as we go, maybe. Yeah, he stopped doing that.
Listen, now
I've got to get something off my chest.
I don't know what prompted him to just breathe like that. No, but he was very candid about this stuff for the most part. So, first of all, he claims that about 10 years prior, in 1981, he was brought before, he went to the judge, to other judges or, whatever, about a broken nose from a farmer because the farmer was a witch in hell and Thies had gone there as a werewolf and he had gotten hit in the face with a broom decorated with horsetails and it broke his nose. The judges at that time did not take him very seriously, although they did note he did have a broken nose and just kind of laughed him out of court. Back to 1691. If all of this doesn't make sense, that's okay. It might. Later, it might not. I don't know.
Does this have something to do with like werewolves versus witches? Because I came across that a couple of times.
Did you?
Which we're going to have to.
We'll have to look into that more.
Because apparently there's like an ancient war between witches and werewolves.
Oh,
yeah.
Man.
Yeah. So
that's a movie waiting to be made. Werewolves versus witches.
Right?
Yeah. We're going to have to do an episode on this all by itself. This is
WVW,
yeah.
Underworld 7.
There we go.
Oh, yeah.
So the judges in 1691 took his claims more seriously than the judges in 81 and started asking him about this stuff. They're like, okay. And they're trying to figure out if this guy's crazy or not. And, so they called in like basically character witnesses who let him know, like, it's like, nah, he seems to be of sound mind. We've never known him to not be. And, whatever. He seems to know. So they start asking him about this stuff. And Thies goes in freely admitting he was a werewolf. What he would do is he used to go out. Oh, you know what? I have a quote. Let me start there with the quote that I pulled up.
Yeah, I come across in my research a few accounts. Like the first time I heard it was in Penny Dreadful, where they made spoiler alert, they made the werewolf like the Hound of God or something, right?
Well, that's what this guy claimed to be, actually. So, yes, he said he was a Hound of God.
Yeah, see, so
there's
like a whole thing behind this that
I had no idea about.
Right, yeah.
So, Thies' account from the trial record reads as follows. Ordinarily, they went to hell, that's in brackets, it must be in the midst. They went to hell 3 times during the night of Pentecost, on Midsummer's Night, and on St. Lucia's Night, or Lucia's Night. As far as the first 2 nights were concerned, they did not go exactly those nights, but more when the grain was properly blooming, because it is at that time that the seeds are forming. Yes, the seeds are forming that the sorcerer spirited away the blessings and take it to hell from the grain. And it is then that the werewolves take it upon themselves to bring it back again. So they're going into hell to prevent famine, basically, bring back the blessings of the seeds and the livestock and stuff like that. And he would say that if they didn't do this or if they failed, it would be a bad harvest that year. So, yes. So they're going in there to save the harvest from the devil and his witches. They did. Apparently the judges did know that the locals considered Thies to be a werewolf, but they didn't take it too seriously until he started talking trial. And I just imagine them just like, okay, wait, I'm sorry. What? You're going to have to go into more detail here. Because they started asking him questions that had nothing to do with the church robbery at all at this point. He just ratted himself out.
Whoever robbed that church has been like, thank God.
Can you imagine?
No, let's hear more about the werewolf stuff.
Tell us more. Tell me more.
Can you imagine that main judge is like, he just gets up and walks away. Like, no. I'm 75. Like, I'm retiring tomorrow. If this is true, I don't put this shit on.
They seem to be kind of honestly, it feels like they tried to give him like chances to be like,
are you sure you want to say this?
Yeah, like, are you sure?
We hang werewolves, you know that, right?
So
Uh,
at first he claimed that what they would do in order to transform into, because there were other people involved, apparently other werewolves. They had wolf pelts that he had gotten from somebody and had passed on to another farmer. They asked him, to identify these people, and that's when his story changed. He said, "Oh no, we actually just go into the bushes naked, and then we turn into werewolves." So I'm more inclined to believe the wolf pelt story from his point of view, because he probably changed his story to save other people.
Well, also
Yeah.
the wolf pelt thing shows up.
It does. That's a pretty
Throughout
common
history.
one. Putting on the wolf pelt. And so let's see. So he also then said, there's a wolf pelt thing, yada yada. But then he claimed he became a werewolf when a quote unquote rascal toasted him, gave him a toast. He said the guy breathed on the jug 3 times and said, "You will be like me." And then when he took the jug, he became a werewolf.
So w's a rascal?
I don't know. It was just in quotes.
those motorized scooter things. Is that an early
One of those
appearance?
people you see at Walmart to take up 2 aisles.
Probably like a vagabond. Like Thies said he was a beggar at the time and ran into a rascal. And Thies said that he had yet to find anybody like up to the challenge of taking on the lycanthropy from him, fighting witches.
Mischievous or cheeky person.
Okay. So a mischievous person toasted him and made him into a werewolf.
It's Loki.
Must have been, yeah. He's got some association with wolves there himself.
Also known as an unprincipled or dishonest person.
Okay. So interesting word choice there. So he again, and they would question him like, okay, so what happens to the werewolves when they die? And he said, well, they go to heaven. They don't go to hell because they hate the devil and they're working for God, and they're like, the judges aren't quite jiving with this. And so then they start like, okay, are you a good Lutheran? Do you attend church and say your prayers and stuff like that? I know, they're like trying.
This is the case where they're like, all right, after this, we have to start telling people, you have the right to remain silent. Anything like, listen, we can't just stumble into this shit again.
So they're like, are you good Lutheran? Are you showing up to the whatever? And he goes, no, I'm too old to understand that stuff. And they're like,
oh my God.
So then they're like, okay, tell us about this, because it came out too that he was also a folk magic practitioner. Practice folk
They're
magic.
just trying to bail water for this guy.
They are. And so then they asked him, okay, like what sort of stuff do you do there for that? And
Fuck.
yeah, he's like, oh, well, I do these blessings that help, drive off wolves, save people's crops, stuff like that. And they had him, tell him what the blessings were that he recited. And there was no mention of Christ or God in the blessings.
Of course.
They're like, well, fuck, you're,
pagan.
Yeah. And heresy to boot. You might lead other people away from God. So that's heresy and you can't have that.
Well,
And
we all
that's-
know about heresy.
Yeah.
Experts in heresy.
We are. Yes. So that actually is what God, they didn't condemn him for the werewolf stuff. They condemned him because of the lack of God in his blessing. And he was sentenced to being flogged and banished. And that's the last we've heard of.
And then he moved into the place behind the lakes.
Maybe. Yeah, he got banned.
Yeah. So that's
Could
the
be.
story of the Hound of God.
Can you imagine,
Lord
like, he's
Thies.
just sitting there pouring that shit out, and they're all like, stop. No, I didn't ask you that.
I feel like they were trying to give him so many chances. Like, hey, guys, is he maybe crazy? No? Fuck. Okay.
Do you
Are
like
ya?
God?
Do you like God? You do. Oh, great. Are you a good Lutheran? No. Fuck.
We will now
Come on, these. This
amendment.
And even then, they took it easy on him. They just banished. And the flogging was probably like a wet spaghetti noodle, and they're like, "Now get out of here."
Now leave. Go back to your hut in the woods and werewolf it up, I guess.
Yeah, they're like
I don't know.
their version of banishment. It's like, the town line is here. Can you just move your hut 2 inches to the left so we can officially say you don't belong to us?
Oh, good Lord.
Shit.
All that from like someone else robbing a church, and Thies just comes in running his mouth.
Man,
Jeez.
but that wolf versus witch stuff, that's wild.
Isn't
We've
it?
Yeah.
got to get into that.
I wonder where that came from and
I
what
don't-
else there is to it.
There's a bit.
Yeah.
I don't
Yeah.
know if there's a lot, but there's more than you would feel comfortable with
More
when it's the topic of werewolf
Yeah.
versus
Mm.
witches.
Yeah.
Sounds like it might be some good content for Cultober to go into there.
No
It could
kidding.
Yeah, Jerry just said, the werewolf and witch trials, and wonder if it was like, no, we're the good guys. They're the bad guys.
Oh, yeah. I'll bet. Yeah, that could be it. So there you go. I found the weirdest werewolf story I could and brought it to you.
That's great.
One that I've heard thus far.
It's cool to see one not like the wolf isn't for Satan. It's like
right
the other way.
He's the good guy.
He couldn't stand. Yeah, he's like, I can't stand the devil. And they're like, well, why do you go to hell? And they're like, well, to save you guys.
And not just that, but it's also the reverse. Like in these trials, you usually hear where they're like, it's like, okay, if you confess, we'll drown you. If you don't confess, we'll drown you. But this one, they're like, stop,
yeah.
quit it, knock it off, shut your mouth.
We're not here for this.
Give us anything, Thief. We'll let you off the hook with anything at this point, please. Yes.
Thief. The hell thing is cool and all, but about the church break-in, Thief. I understand witches, devils, feast. Break-in, stolen money.
Oh yeah, luckiest church robber in the world. Whoever was attached to that trial. Yeah,
they were relieved. I'm sure
that derailed the trial.
My ass, because he's probably sitting there going like, "Oh my god, there's a hell, and witches and werewolves are fighting in it." I gotta get to church.
Gotta get to church.
Oh, hey, I saved that guy. There you go. That was fantastic. Great little mix of werewolf shit we had here on this.
Yeah, that was a good variety.
Werewolves, Dogman, all kinds of stuff.
Yeah.
Went all over the place with them.
Good guys, bad guys, historical,
Europe, United States, all over the place.
Modern, old.
Yeah, it was great. So the way I've been ending these encounters when we have people on is we talk about werewolves a day. So what is your guys' favorite werewolf movies? We do like talking about movies here at Cultober. So
yeah,
I'll go first. I have a 2-way split.
Okay.
I will not pick. There's Dog Soldiers. I love Dog Soldiers.
Yeah.
And then Silver Bullet.
Okay.
I love Silver Bullet.
Good one. Yeah.
Silver Bullet. Gary Busey in that is amazing.
Oh, he's amazing in that. I love Gary Busey in that movie.
Yeah. Good acting chops on him. It really shows.
People forget how good of an actor he can be.
I'm going to say, because I watched it recently, Cursed.
Oh, okay.
Oh, yeah.
It surprised me because I hadn't seen it.
Okay.
Oh, is that the Wes Craven one?
I think so, yeah. And
with Christina Ricci.
Yeah, Christina Ricci, and it's like real camp. And
Jesse Eisenberg, yeah.
Jesse Eisenberg's in it, and I was watching it, and there was all these actors in it that are like more famous now. And they just have like minor parts in this movie.
Yeah.
Like Nick Offerman is in it for like 2 seconds.
Nice.
And I think Michael Rosenbaum, the guy that plays Lex Luthor in Smallville, he's got a part in it.
He's good.
Milo, I can't think of what is the guy. He comes out as gay, but he's like the bully in it.
Yeah,
he's more famous now. He was in Heroes.
Oh yeah, yeah.
The one that has that kind of side talking mouth. What's really cool about him is he played Rocky's son, and when you put them when you put them side by side, you're like, whoa,
really?
Yeah. Anyway, not to interject too much.
No, it's okay. I have such a hard time picking favorites, especially when it comes to werewolf movies. But I'm going to go with American Werewolf in London.
Nice.
That's a good werewolf movie.
Yeah, that's a great one.
Like the lore in that one too.
Much more traditional with the pentagram.
Yeah. American Werewolf in London's fantastic. Have you ever seen American Werewolf in Paris?
You know what? I like it, but for completely different reasons.
Huh,
they didn't have to be connected at all.
No.
But I like the werewolf design in that. Just the CGI is not good.
No, the CGI is bad.
But I like what they were going for with it.
Yeah, I'm not a fan of that one. My favorites. I like Dog Soldiers. That's one of my all-time favorites.
Yeah, Dog Soldiers is so good.
I love that flick. I like Bad Moon. That's a movie I really like.
Ooh.
Is that the one where the dog's the main character?
The dog is the hero in that one. Yeah, that's a great one. That was originally slated for this Cultober, but I changed it to appease Mike so he could do those Sunday PG movies. So
next year.
Movies.
Yeah, next year I'll have to throw it back on there. And then also like Wolf Cop. Wolf Cop's on there.
Oh my god.
I've heard good things about Wolf Cop.
It's a badass flick. It's a good one.
Interesting.
It is.
It's about a cop who turns into a wolf. If you didn't catch that,
right? No. Oh man, there was subtlety in the title.
I didn't want it to go over your head.
Right.
I can't wait for the team up of
You're an extended
Rap
knowledge.
Master. the were velociraptor pastor.
Right.
Oh my
Oh,
gosh.
I've never seen that one. That movie looked too bad for me.
Wow.
I seen stills of it. You gotta have, for me to like a bad movie, it's gotta have like some charm to it. It just looked cheap. I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't like cheap movies. I usually don't like movies that have bad movie sounding names because it's like I feel like that.
Sharknado? What are you talking about?
Hey, I don't like the first one.
No, Sharknado 2 and on is
why
fine
don't you
now.
like
Two.
the first one? Why don't
The
you
first
like
one's boring. That's the worst sin a movie can commit is being boring. I don't care how bad it is, as long as they're fun. First one's boring as hell, but then they in the second moving forward, they really caught traction. They made them fun, and they're campy, and they're tongue in cheek, and there's throwing shit at you just to throw shit at you. There's cameos out the ass for like no, because everyone was like, I want to be in a Sharknado movie, so they put everyone. I love those movies, but no, I usually don't like movies that are like velocipastors. I've seen stills of it, and I was like, I know they bought fucking raptor gloves from Jurassic World at Walmart, stuck them on this guy. I was like, I have no interest in that. That's just too cheap for me. But no, that'd be my top three if I had to say. But Dog Soldier's definitely number one. I love that flick.
Dog Soldiers, it's got everything in spades. Like, it's got great acting, it's got good action. The werewolves are frightening as fuck.
Yeah.
It's just good. Good
Yeah,
stuff.
Neil Marshall had a lot going for him for a while. But I watched that new movie he had come out earlier this year, and that was fucking awful.
What was it?
I forget what it's called.
Unremarkable. Yeah.
Everyone was like, oh, it's like he was going back to his Dog Soldiers roots. So everyone kept saying 'cause it's like an action movie. It's like this outpost in Afghanistan. They somehow like uncover like a terrorist laboratory where these like monsters are being made, and they release them and they attack the outpost. All the soldiers to fight these things, and it was really cheap and really bad. And the main character is doing an impression of Brad Pitt from Inglourious Bastards. Like he's just doing an impression of, and it's really distracting. It's really distracting. It doesn't make any sense why he's doing it. He's just doing Brad Pitt from fucking Inglourious Bastards for some reason. It was really boring too, which I don't like that.
The same guy that did Dog Soldiers did The Descent.
Yeah.
How did I never know that? The Lair, is that what it was?
Lair, yeah, that's bad. It's pretty bad. It's on Shudder, I think now. I think it was like a Shudder original.
Man, he did the failed Hellboy too.
Yeah, he did failed Hellboy. He did Doomsday, which Doomsday gets way more shit than it deserves. I actually kind of like that movie.
Doomsday.
But also he did Black Sails, he did Game of Thrones, he did Constantine, he did some good stuff.
Which part of Game of Thrones?
2 episodes.
What season?
It doesn't say.
Oh, that's okay.
He did an episode of Hannibal.
Oh, okay.
But man, that Hellboy was bad.
I haven't watched that.
He did the new Lost in Space as well. Fuck that.
Oh, really? I never watched that. I didn't have any interest in watching that. I love the 90s one for just all the wrong reasons, but
I do too.
Yeah,
for probably the same reasons you do.
Yeah, just fucking. I remember everyone thought that was gonna be like Joey's like big break.
It should have been. You know what? He did just fine in that movie.
He did do just fine. But it was like everyone thought that was like his vehicle, and then it just like nothing happened from it. I remember I had the action figures from that. I had a whole little get up of him. The little mask thing. I had that.
That was badass.
I had that thing.
Icon on it where he's taking on them spiders. Man, that shit's still good.
Yeah, that was good. But
yeah, anyway.
That was all of us talking about werewolf stuff. These encounters episodes are something fun me and Bailey do. Usually for all of our specials, we'll pick a topic and just do real life encounters with it. It's fun. Talk about conspiracies, but it's really fun to talk about these things that people kind of pass off. But there's real reports of real people encountering things. So it's always fun to talk about them and discuss.
And there's got to be, if this is real, there's got to be a conspiracy to cover it up.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah, that's true.
The Land Between the Legs thing is really interesting. I meant to dig into more of that.
That does
maybe
sound
it might come
like
on more, but
huh?
it's very rooted in conspiracy. Like people like because there's even like the campsite where this supposedly happened. Apparently, like an investigative team like found the campsite a few years back. Apparently, found like were able to somehow find like the campsite where like the pad for the RV was, and it was just kind of buried back in like the woods. They found like shreds of like police tape in the dirt. As they kind of like, it's just stuff like that. But everyone denies it was ever happened. It's the urban legend, but it's how most conspiracies come out anyway. So
yeah.
But super interesting stuff here. Bailey couldn't join us through the whole episode, but we'll be back next week. Me and Bailey will be here to talk about the Hopkinsville Goblins. That's going to be a fun episode.
Yeah, it is.
Yeah, we were going to do a Goblins Encounters episodes, but more I was like, let's just do this one. I was like, there's not really that many interesting Goblins Encounters.
Yeah.
I don't know. You can pair goblins with like the Puckwudgie.
Yeah, Puckwudgie.
And then
I had a friend's dad who told me he encountered a Puckwudgie when I was a kid. He'd like tell me all the time about it at Pike Lake. If anyone's familiar with Ohio, it's a little lake down south. Yeah, he swore by it that him and his friend
saw a Puckwudgie there.
Yeah,
really?
He swore by it. That him and his friend were hiking through there when they were kids, and this little fucking thing came out and chased them out of the out of the woods and back on the trail, and it stopped that. When it got to the trail, it stopped and just was gone.
So what the puck is a Puckwudgie?
So a Puckwudgie is a Native American leprechaun.
Yeah.
Like, I mean, if you look up the description of a Puckwudgie, you're like, okay, so if this was in Ireland, we'd call this motherfucker a leprechaun.
Okay, interesting. All right, thank you.
Yeah.
Me and Terry were confused.
Yeah, there's a lot of weird like Native American legends like that. And the werewolves deeply tie in with Native American legend.
Yeah.
Oh yeah,
it's really interesting when you start reading about werewolves and you get on the Dogman, the Skinwalkers, the Wendigo.
Yeah,
because they'll kind of all blend in. There's certain aspects from each of those that kind of come into different encounters. So it's really interesting to read that kind of stuff. Bailey and I were going to do like a dog, or we were going to do a werewolf encounters, and we were going to do a Skinwalkers encounters at one point too for this month. And then the more we got to think about it, I was like, kind of just put them in the same thing. I think it's like it was kind of like splitting hairs at that point when you was reading the encounters. So we was like, let's just make one.
I don't know. I think the Skinwalker one would be interesting. Let the audience will let you know if they want a Skinwalker.
Oh, absolutely, absolutely. And we'll definitely be talking about Skinwalkers at some point because there's some interesting legends that involve them. So, but this month, Cultober is rolling on. We're in our second week of Cultober. Ooh. And it's a big month ahead. Tomorrow, I believe it's myself, Ben, Eric, Urs. I think we're going to be watching Splinter, a mid 2000s creature feature. So, and that was Urs's suggestion, which surprised me because I've been talking about this movie for a while. So
you have, yes.
Urs brought it up, and we're going to watch that tomorrow. And then this Friday, it's Friday the 13th.
Can't miss that bandwagon.
Yeah, and of course, Friday the 13th, we're talking about Nightmare on Elm Street.
Or Halloween.
We're talking about the Friday the 13th franchise. We're going to be talking not just Friday the 13th, but the whole franchise.
Yeah.
Shooting the shit about it. It's a pretty laxed episode, but it's really good. We just talk about all things Friday the 13th.
Because that's a rare opportunity.
Yeah, that's an opportunity.
In October.
Yeah, you don't want to miss that.
Oh, absolutely not. And then this Sunday, we'll have Halloween Town, everyone's favorite Disney Channel original movie. We talk about that, so that'll be fun. But yeah, this week's rolling on, and the next Tuesday we're back here for Hopkinsville Goblins. So make sure you guys keep an eye on all things Cult Talk Net at Cult Talk Net, Instagram, Twitter, YouTube, Facebook, Threads, X. I think now. I don't think it's Twitter. It's X now. I have no idea.
Tweets?
Yeah,
I don't get it.
I have no idea. It freaked me out. It freaked me out because I have a Twitter app on my phone. I don't use it because Mike signed into like Twitter. He does the CT on Twitter, but I had the app on my phone, and I was like scrolling on my phone, and I just see like this ominous app with just X on it, and I didn't know what it was. I was like freaked out. I was like, "What is this?" Like I was like trying to figure out. I was like, it's some kind of like fraud thing got downloaded on my phone or something.
It's just part of a human trafficking ring now.
Yeah, it was weird. I was like, I didn't want to click on it, so I had to Google it, and it was like, oh, that's Twitter now. I was like, oh, man, it freaked me out because it was just this black box with a white X to it. I didn't know what it was.
That is, that would be creepy.
Yeah, so I guess Elon just changed up the branding, and then Threads, which is the other Twitter thing that Mike does now. So. Yeah. All kinds of social media. Most social medias, I'm sure you go to it. It's at Cult Talk Net. But keep an eye out for all the Cultober shit we have coming out. Cult of Lore's got you guys having another episode coming out here next week. I'm pretty sure.
Yeah,
be a third Thursday. So you guys will be having an episode coming out.
So that one's Demonculaba.
Oh no!
I think that's H.P. Lovecraft.
Oh, it's
that one's HP.
Yeah.
So I've already been traumatized.
Yeah. Oh, that Demonculaba stuff was wild. I had to go find the pictures for the Twitter, for the thumbnails. Like I heard the name when you guys mentioned it, and I was like, oh, maybe it's some kind of demon spider thing.
It is not,
and it kind of is a little bit. There's 8 limbs there, so. It's kind of. I wasn't too far off when I wasn't ready for what I was looking at when
you didn't
when I googled the images, but I wasn't too far off, I guess. But that's a great episode. Make sure you guys check that out. But there you guys have it. This has been a Cult Talk Conspiracy. We're doing an episode every week through October, so make sure you guys join us. We have, I think, another guest coming up here soon. So we'll let you guys know on our next episode who that is, who guest number 3 is for Cultober. But I think that does it for us, guys.
Thanks for having us.
Yeah, thank you guys for being on. And we'll have more collabs coming up soon, I'm sure. There'll be more things coming. Yeah, there's something cooking. So make sure you guys keep your ears out for that. But until next time, I've been Ty.
I've been Eric.
I'm Ben.
And this has been a howling good time.
Oh my, you bastard.
And until next time.
Question everything.